I've been in business for about 3 months, and with the help of Verizon, I'm at a full practice because I was one of those people, Verizon would give me some advice. I'm like, okay, yeah. And I would just sit on it. And the longer that I sat on it, the longer it took me to progress in business. And my advice to you all is to just do everything she asks y'all to do.
You said everything I asked her to do, just do that, right? All right, let me stop the recording here. Just regular conversation. I have just kind of checking in with you. I know you had your big open house yesterday, which was a huge success. So kudos to you. That was amazing. Really good turnout. Excited to see all those people out there to support you, and your big official. This is real. This is my business. This is everything is starting. You got the clients rolling in. Everything is moving. You got the momentum. Do you feel like, okay, whew, I can breathe now, or do you feel like, oh my God, now I gotta keep moving? Like, what kind of feeling do you have where you're at now in your business?
Well, it's a combination of both. This was something I've been looking forward to, having this event. I was looking forward to having this event for a while. And now that I have my office, I was able to, reach out to my colleagues in the community and just have an official business launch. And the feedback that I've gotten it's been phenomenal.
That's awesome.
Like, I've had one of my friends, one of my colleagues who came, he sent me a message this morning asking me what specific insurances do I take. Because he already has some referrals ready for me.
Yeah.
And another former colleague who was there, he also asked me for my website information because he has some referrals, as well as his wife, who's a psych nurse. She's a nurse practitioner, OBGYN.
Okay.
I've had great feedback from that event.
That's
so awesome. I'm excited. I'm definitely excited.
Yeah.
I'm ready to push forward.
Yeah, that's exciting. And then on top of that, it's two things you said. One, they asked me for my website. One, they asked me, do I take certain insurances? So I always tell people when they're starting their practice, just start, just get out there. But once you start getting that momentum going, I think a website is like super instrumental. It's kind of like old school back in the day. People had, business cards where they would just give out business cards, which is still good. I know you like business cards. So you're probably like, wait a minute, don't come for the business cards. But there's nothing wrong with having a good business cards. But right now we have everybody who is just pretty much online. So you want to have that visibility. The more you show up, the more people look for like Black male therapists in the area, or male therapists, or sports, or keywords that will stick out. Now that you're online and you have a website, those are some keywords that you want to have in there. So you just kind of like pop up at the top all the time. Like you said, it's not a lot of Black male therapists. I have about 5 that are my go-to, and normally they're always booked. But I just say, hey, these are, I have some people, but most of the time they really book. They have their own practice and they stay swamped. Which is really important to be mindful of because you're such a hot commodity. Watching for that burnout, making sure you're not overextending yourself. So do you have a certain cap? Like, hey, once I get to this amount of clients, I'm going to do this. I know you have about 20 plus clients on a consistent basis now. What does that look like in the next month or a few weeks from now?
So my cap is going to be at 30. My goal is to go into the summertime with 30.
Okay.
Because, with 30, that will put me that'll put me around 20 clients a week.
Okay. Okay.
Because some of the clients I'm already seeing every other week. So it's not like I'm going to be seeing 30 clients.
Yes, for sure. For sure.
So, 30 clients will put me at around 20 clients a week. That's my sweet spot, because I didn't want to become a private practice owner to 40 plus hours.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I want my, just having great time management. You know what I mean? I want my time back, spending time with my family.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the main reasons why I got into this, got into the private practice sector of this.
Yeah, which is really good, because I know you're really all about family and, your wife and kids, and making sure you can spend time for them. So doing about 20 hours a week is pretty good, because when you're in private practice, that still equates to probably about 30 hours a week. You still have documentation, you still following up, you're still doing marketing, you're still making sure your website, your soft marketing here and there, going to events. Like, it's other stuff that I think people don't really pay attention to. They think like, hey, I got a private practice, I see these clients, they keep them moving, but you want to make your business everlasting. Like, you don't want it just to be something temporarily where you're just seeing a whole bunch of clients and then you get tired of that, you do something else. Like, what does it look like when you hit those 30 clients, when you hit those 40 clients, and constantly setting those goals? So then that way where you need to be and what you need to do to keep that momentum going. For sure. So let me ask you a big question though. Virtual versus in person. What are your thoughts?
I love the versatility of the virtual sessions. However, I absolutely love face-to-face sessions. I love
Good,
going to
good.
the office. You know, I'm just one of those therapists who love the face-to-face interaction.
Yeah,
And that was one of the main reasons why I was pushing to get the brick and mortar. And that's another thing that's going to set me apart, you know, from my colleagues and, you know,
absolutely.
in Beach, because I am one of the few therapists in the city who offers face to face.
Yes, for sure.
So I
For
love
sure. For sure. And that's a huge benefit of having a practice where you can do both. I've always had that space to do in office and virtual as I'm not gonna say one of the downfalls, but I'm really consistent with it now that I have a um pretty balanced there, like having enough people to see clients in office and have enough clients to see virtually. I absolutely love seeing my clients in person, but you do get comfortable seeing them virtually. So, so I know a lot of people do virtual practice, and I always tell them to start out that way to get your momentum going and to get your finances up before you jump out and you're able to do it. Your space, you're just in your space a little less than a few weeks, but you've already had 20 something clients. So at that point, you have enough to sustain being in the office one day to make what you need to pay back for your rent or whatever it is. So I tell people to make it make sense. Don't just jump out. I know so many people get this beautiful office space, get all this, area and get it all nice and fancy, and then they don't have nothing, it's like, okay, now what do I do? Instead of doing the opposite. So for sure.
absolutely.
For
Yeah,
sure.
that was one of my plans. You know, just of course, you know, just going through the program with you and just, you know, like you said, like, hey, let's start on virtual, let's make some money first, and then, you know, let's get an office. So, you know, as much as I want to just jump out there and get an
Yeah,
office, I said,
for sure.
look, let me just follow the plan.
Yes, 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 yes. It can be tempting, but and the good thing about you, you have a lot of connections too. So I think
Mhm.
for you, having those connections is huge. And I don't know if therapists really realize. I think you feel like when you're a private practice, you can put a profile on site, get your little website. If you at that point, clients are going to come to you regardless because they all need therapy. What are your thoughts on that? Like, do you feel like the connection has helped you? Do you feel like it's needed? What would you tell someone in your case?
The connection, it definitely helped. But once you're in business for yourself, you know, like I tell people, marketing is an everyday thing for me.
Mhm.
Every day I'm creating flyers, you know, every day, probably 5 days a week, I'm, you know, contacting either, you know, my previous colleagues, let them know what I'm doing
Mhm.
and the services that I can offer the community. I'm also reaching out to colleagues such as, like, you know, teachers, social workers, school counselors, you know, other therapists that are in private
For
as
sure.
well, because all of us don't have the same niche. You
Yes,
know what I
that's
mean?
for sure.
So linking up with PCPs, pretty much linking up with everybody, just
Yeah.
letting them know that I'm in this community, because I was doing some research, and in the United States, only 2 to 3% of all LPCs are African American males. In the state of Virginia, only 1.5 to 2% of LPCs are African American males.
Wow, that's
So
huge.
my goal is to let the community know that I'm here,
Yes, for sure.
you know,
For sure.
versus just putting a picture, putting a post, and just waiting for people to come.
For sure.
I'm gonna,
For
you
sure.
know, services out there.
For sure. And I think that's what's I know for a fact that is what you do differently, because a lot of therapists I see they start out that way and they do a little advertisement, they get full with clients, and then that's kind of it. They get bombarded with clients. But I think your connection with the community and always wanting to let people know, hey, I'm here, and just connecting and network, and like even at your open house and the people who came out, just seeing the love in the room, everybody was there for one common goal, and that was to support you in your venture. Like, well, they believe in you. They've seen you from, like you said, in the mental health field 20 years and kind of going through the trajectory of getting that license, doing this, doing that, life happening, but still being consistent with that, your dreams, which is
Mhm.
huge, which is really huge. And I think that's what is going to definitely make your business sustainable, but also people are always going to want to refer just because, your energy is just like, we only going to refer to him, it's like it's a lot of people out there, different businesses, but giving someone or referring someone to a company, an agency, a person that you trust, it works out. It's 10 times fold better because I can walk away knowing that I left that person in good hands, and not that I just gave them a list of people and said, hey, reach out. That makes a heck of a difference when you're in business, being able to have those people that is going to service the people you're giving them, right? For sure,
Absolutely.
for sure. Definitely appreciate that. So what are some questions you have about where you are in your business now and where you're trying to go that you think, would be helpful to kind of figure out next steps, or how to kind of maneuver through some things?
So like what we previously discussed, my next short goal is 30 clients.
For sure.
And once I'm there and I'm consistent at that number, the next goal, and also even with the 30 clients, I'm in the process of getting credentialed with my company.
Absolutely. That's awesome.
Currently I'm credentialed with the platforms, but now I'm in the process of getting credentialed
On your own.
So
Yes.
on my own. So once I get credentialed on my own, in conjunction with me staying at 30, now the plan is to revamp to work on bringing on either a resident or a supervisor. Because
Absolutely.
at that point, I'll be credentialed with the insurances
For
that
sure.
will allow a resident or supervisor to provide them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's basically looking to scale down and turn your private practice into a group practice, which is
Yeah,
an easy transition. I always tell people, well, it's an easy transition when you have the clients flowing. Some people
right.
want to do this and they put the cart before the horse, and it's kind of like you gotta have your ducks in a row. Like, yes, you want to have your policy procedure manuals, your SOPs, you want to have your contracts, I'm constantly revamping my stuff. I spent pretty much all the majority of yesterday early before your open house and even yesterday evening just kind of like going through my forms and documents, making sure legally they're correct. If you have an attorney or someone look over your forms, that's great. I normally use a lot of sites that have like Legal Zoom and Legal Aid and stuff that have some templates and things to use. But again, that comes to the point when it's flowing, when you get to a point where you got the cases and everything flowing in, and you're like, okay, now let me go ahead and get some legal advice on this or that. Some people do that first, and by the time they get all that together, then they feeding for clients because they got to pay for the legal. So like I always tell you, it's okay to just start out, do what you need to do, and go from there. The rest will happen. But yes, definitely with the group practice, once you get paneled through your own practice, which I recommend everyone in private practice to do. I know it's comfortable. I know it's easy to get on Alma, Headway, Sondermind, and all these platforms, and you stacking up the money. But like we see it all the time. If that company goes out of business, or if Alma says, you know what, it's been great servicing you, but the Alma person is a trillionaire at this point, and like, I think I'm gonna sell my business, so I don't want to do this anymore. Then what? You and your business are out back. So I just don't believe in putting all my eggs in one basket when it comes to your business, because you want to make sure that you can sustain and survive. So getting credentialed at this point is smart, super smart to have that part rolling. And then picking, when you go to pick your first person, I always say you want to pick someone that knows you, that's kind of comfortable with you, and they understand that they are kind of the guinea pig of this. When I brought on my first person, I remember they asked me, and I was like, oh, I'm not really ready. Let me figure some stuff out. However, I trusted that person enough to know that they were going to hold me accountable. They were going to be able to write down the things that they felt they should have known or had available or accessible to them. And I was on it. It's like, oh man, duh, I need to do that. Oh, I need to do that. Now I have those things in place. So obviously you'll be in good hands because, I just pass it over to you, which I do for those that in the community and those that I work with. I kind of have all that stuff on the drive, give it to you. You just change the logo and all that stuff. So it's super easy. But that stuff I learned from trial and error. The person I had, her, Shantae, when I started with her, she was the first person I brought on. Now she has her own practice. But I remember starting with her, it was easy for her to say, oh, is there any way that we can have the form do this? Or is there any way that, when I do the assessment with the client, we can little stuff that we don't think about because she was actually doing it, but from an employee or a contractor standpoint versus as an owner, sometimes you just, something needs to happen, but it's like, it's not that big of a deal. I'll just do it. So definitely hiring someone, maybe even someone you bring on as an intern. That would be a good way to bring someone on as an intern or practicum student. They do their whole year with you. They learn everything about it. They help you come up with these things that we're talking about. After they're done with graduation, they're completing their paperwork to go to the next step, which is to obtain their licensure, and you offer them an opportunity to be, to work up under you. That's an easy flow because you've seen interns that work with us, and the interns that I have, one, she's graduating actually in 2 weeks. And I offer her the same thing. She's relocating. That's why I wasn't, she's trying to make a decision if she wants to stay and do this or not. But what better person? She knows all about the intake process. She knows all about the how we bring clients in, what we do. She knows all the manuals, policy, everything there is, just as a regular employee would know. But so she can jump in once she gets that paperwork approved and just go with it. So definitely an easy play is to have someone as an intern or practicum student, join you.
Okay. Got a question for you,
Go ahead.
So if you could go back to that time where you knew it was time for you to transition into, bringing on your first contract partner, what would you do different, or would you do anything different?
It's also one of those things in life. A lot of stuff for me, I always tell myself, why didn't you do it sooner? My situation is a little bit different than a lot of people when it comes to mental health spaces, because although they don't teach us a lot of this stuff in school, I work for an agency where I pretty much was able to get all the tools provided to me, and what I didn't know, I was able to get training and support from people who did know. So a lot of stuff like hiring people, bringing people on interviews, managing people. I had did that for 15 years before I started my practice, so it came second nature to me. But it's nothing like when it's all on you. So the one thing was, oh my goodness, now you're responsible. The way I like to put it in my head is for this person's livelihood. They have a family, they have this. I kind of put that pressure on myself, like, wow, they got a family, they got this, and they're working with you. You're their person. They're working with you solely. So when they work with you solely, I tell myself, wow, okay, this person is you're completely responsible for this person getting to where they're trying to get when it comes to clients and just coming to their career. So it's a little bit more added pressure. The one thing I would have probably done sooner to answer your question in its entirety is probably started running ads and having my website more SEO appropriate. Hey Tiffany, I'm just interviewing Dante and we're talking about some stuff for the YouTube channel. So you'll be all on the channel. It's okay. You could jump in and ask questions you have to, but we're it's okay. We're almost wrapping up. He just joined us early because I had to start early because I scheduled, the meeting a little awkward. I was like, I thought it was 12. He was like, no, it says 1. I'm like, oh. So we just started jumping on and doing that. But we're wrapping up and then I'll start with you guys. But yeah, that's the one thing that I would do, Dante, for sure. And I would tell anyone, people wait to get their website, they wait to run their ads, they wait to do their SEO. And it's a certain time and place for that. But that was the game changer for me. That was when I brought this one person on. Less than 2 weeks, I was bringing someone else on. Less than 30 days, I was bringing on 2 more people. Like when I think by the time you came on, you might have been my 6th or 7th person that I had. And the most I've had at any given time was 8 or 9. When I started doing the test prep stuff, it kind of pulled me back from focusing so much on the residents and bringing people in and having the practice flourish. But you already know it don't take much. I already said you got to focus on one thing. My husband always tells me that, focus on one thing, then do the other. So that's what I did. I focused so much on the test prep. It was like, wait a minute. Dante started his own practice. Chantel left and started. I'm like, wait a minute, you get these people ready. They started their own practice. They done left. Now what you gonna do? So literally after this meeting, I have a group onboarding where I'm bringing on 6 people for the month of May. So when I have them starting, I have 3 that are starting in my Texas site. Well, 3 for Texas solely, and then 1 person, so it'll be 4 altogether. She's gonna work Virginia and Texas because she has her LMSW in both states. And then for my Virginia site, I'm just kind of steady moving. After you left, I'm still breathing a little bit. So once I get completely over it and put my big girl pants on, I'm gonna be good to go. I think I gave myself, it was what, April? I need to get over it, right? It's April 20. It's almost 30 days now. So come May 1st, I'm gonna use all that fuel and it's on and popping. I'm gonna have like 15 people in all these. That's the goal. I'm like, you can be sad for 30 days and then you go on with it. So yeah, that's pretty much what I would do. So for where you're at in your business now, I know you're getting ready to start ads and you have your website, but that's going to be the game changer. So don't focus on how many hits you get from the ads. Just know that because you're running ads, 6 months from now, a year from now, 6 years from now, you're going to show up. So you're going to show up faster than anybody else in the area who decided they weren't going to do ads, or they decided they're going to do it after the fact. I don't worry about that. If I run ads, I know off the rip I'm gonna get 5, 6, 7 cases within that week to go ahead and fill somebody. Like I already have it in my head how much I need to spend on ads, when I need to do ads, and I have a strategic plan. Like Texas, I just started, so it's gonna take a few weeks to get that momentum to show up and appear, because that's a huge state and there's tons of therapists there. So it's not like I'm gonna run an ad, I'm gonna pop up and be the first therapist. I know that's not gonna happen, but in the interim, you already know, I believe you should be on 3 to 5 therapist platforms at a minimum. So that's what I also did yesterday. I revamped my, Psychology Today profile for all the different sites, sent out the links for the group. Like I'm Psychology Today helped me get my group practice before I even ran ads. I just did Psychology Today. But I knew the algorithm where I would go in there and change my Psychology Today profile I would say every other day at minimum. Just changing a word, removing something, saving it, and going back in there. Like I constantly was in there moving moving. And I think it just showed me that, I don't know how the algorithm works, but to me, it felt like it just made me more present because I was constantly in there moving around and doing stuff. Therapy for Black girls, huge, huge. I got to give them a shout out. Huge. I get about 15 to 20 hits a week on just views from people just going to my website on there. So that is a game changer. Even for you being a male, a lot of females want a male therapist. So you being on Therapist for Black girls, you have no idea. Now that will probably be a little overwhelming and you'll probably be a group by tomorrow because literally I'm telling you, even when my ads guy looks, he goes, wow, you got all these referrals coming in. He goes, but Therapy for Black girls, he was like, wow, like you get so many referrals from them. It's crazy. So that is pretty much that and Psychology Today are my top two. I have about 6 or 7 of them that I use, but those are my top two. And then my Hispanic speaking people, if they're bilingual, there's some other ones out there as well that are just for Spanish speaking sites. So I think just tapping into all of that stuff, you'll be amazed at where it can get you and where you're going for sure.
Okay.
All right, and I know you might have to jump off. You can ask me another question, then I want you to kind of help here. Tiffany and Brittany, they're brand new, so they're just starting out. So kind of giving them some feedback before you have to jump off. And I don't know when you have to jump off, but before you do, I want
I'm fine.
you good? Okay. All right. But I appreciate you letting me pick you pick my brain and I pick your brain for this little segment because I'm always trying to find some content because I'm like, look, I've been sitting here making videos all day and I'm like, everything is content, just talking to you and just connecting with people. So I try to use those now on those channels to kind of, show people other avenues and other aspects. As you know, Lorena, she hasn't jumped up here yet, but she said something that was so profound a few weeks ago when we were doing the coaching calls on a weekly basis. She asked, could I do some content or what do I show people the stressors or like behind the scenes, how this isn't as easy as it looks? Like, she's like, you make it look easy, but this is really stressful. Like, can you talk about some of that? And everybody's journey is different, but that is true. Sometimes there's some rough days and you're just like, oh my God. And private practice can be lonely. When we in the office, we in there, like you said, since we in the office talking, I'm like, wait a minute, it's past my bedtime. But it's different when you're able to connect with people like-minded than just being in a cubicle or a space by yourself.
Now that's one of the things I'm gonna start doing too. I was telling Dr. Sophie that not, like I said, because I already told you, Roger. Once I get my numbers at a certain number, then I'm gonna start expanding. So I was telling Dr. Sophie, I'm gonna get some equipment to start doing some YouTube videos like the day in the life because on YouTube, all the LPCs, all they do is talk about testing. That's it. I'm talking about nothing else but testing. So I'm gonna, bring that up. Just start bringing those videos because I know to me when I was a resident, that's all I want to see. I just want to see.
Yes. Now you finish, you're like, okay, I'm done with that. Now there's another layer. There's another part of life.
Right.
Sure.
So yeah, that's what I'm gonna start doing. So I'm gonna have to get the pretty much equipment you have, the lighting and all that stuff, so I can just put it on the set up on my desk
and go to work. For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So you want to go ahead and tell the people the name of your practice and all that good stuff, then I'm going to stop this recording and restart with the ladies up here.
All right. So hello, ladies, Miss Tiffany, Miss Brittany. My name is Dante Kendall, and I am the proud owner of Dream Key Counseling and Consulting Services, PLLC. I've been in business for about 3 months, and with the help of Verizon, I'm at a full practice. And my advice to you all is to just do everything she asks y'all to do.
You said everything I asked her to do, just do that, right? All right, let me stop the recording here and then we'll pick back up because I don't want people thinking like, did she tell? But they've been watching us, so they know we didn't. I didn't tell her to say that. So sure, but I appreciate that.
Any advice that she gives you all, it's in your best interest to just. Because I was one of those people, Verizon would give me some advice. I'm like, okay, yeah. And I would just sit on it. And the longer that I sat on it, the longer it took me to progress in business, So one day I said, hey, I'm just going to start, whatever she tells me I need to do, I'm just going to, whatever advice she gives me, I'm just going to do it. I'm not even going to question it. And, and
but you can question it.
It's okay to question. I will question it. But that's when I started seeing motion.
Yeah.
Because me, I wanted to me, I wanted everything to line up perfectly. I wanted my PLLC documentation ready. I wanted my brick and mortar. I wanted everything to be perfect. But I realized that that's just not how it works in the real world. So, but yes, ladies, you know, you all are in good hands with Ariza. You know, she's a phenomenal leader, and you know, she's gonna get you to where you need to go.
For sure. Thank you. And I know you just started.